What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today, you're joining me in my 2025 Tesla Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive. We have just over 13,000 miles on it. It is at 18 months old, halfway through the lease, and we're going to be doing a battery health test, continuing the series from when we did it at 6 months, 12 months, and now at 18 months, and we're going to keep doing it every 6 months. That's as frequently as Tesla allows it, and we're going to gather as much data as we can throughout this lease. Today's video is brought to you by TubeToolkit.com. Tired of spending hours writing titles, descriptions, and tags for every video? With Tube Toolkit, just paste your YouTube link and AI generates optimized titles, SEO descriptions, timestamps, tags, and more in seconds. Plus AI thumbnails, shorts ideas, CTR scored titles, and full SEO toolkit. Start free with 3 videos a month. Upgrade anytime as your channel grows. TubeToolkit.com. Turn your videos into content gold. Thank you to Tube Toolkit for sponsoring today's video. So before we jump into this, every Tesla has a battery health test, or at least every newer Tesla has a battery health test function built into it. I ran it at 6 months at about 6,000 and change miles and got 95% battery health. I ran it again at 12 months, about 11,000 miles, got 90% battery health. And let's see what we get today. We are at about 18 months into this lease. We have just over 13,000 miles on the car, so a little bit lower mileage than the previous intervals. It hasn't been driven as much. We've been driving the Lightning more with the baby now. But let me show you some Tessie data. Even though it has fairly low miles, this car sits a fair amount with cabin overheat and Sentry mode on. So it's done over 6.5 megawatt hours through the battery, even though my lifetime trip, which only counts energy while being driven, only shows about 3.5 megawatt hours. So we've used almost double the amount of energy that's accounted for just from driving. But let me show you that, and then we'll get into the battery health test kind of specifics and testing procedure, and then go from there. This video will continue into tomorrow morning because it will have to charge the car overnight. First it drains it, then it charges it fully, and then it gives you results. So we will see that tomorrow morning, but let's go into some of the data first. And then just for some quick context before we get into the Tessie stats, this car has had about 43% of its charging done on AC charging and about 57% of its charging done on DC charging. Some of that's 50 kilowatt charging, like if I drive this car to work, I can charge on a 50 kilowatt fast charger, but also quite a bit of supercharging and quite a bit of higher power non-Tesla charging as well. So yeah, it has quite a bit of degradation as far as I can tell. I think it has dipped over 300 miles of rated range. We will see tomorrow when it gets to 100%. But I believe this car was originally rated for 338 miles. It originally charged at 339, if I remember correctly. Someone correct me if I am wrong. But let me show you the Tessie data here. So here you can see the odometer, 13,162 miles. And here you can see the Tessie battery health tab. So according to this, we have 9.54% degradation, 90.46% battery health. We're down under 72 kilowatt hour of energy remaining. Sorry about that music there. This is showing 307 miles of range at 100%. And you can see maybe there, if that focuses. But originally it was 338 miles of rated range at 100%. We've done about 75 battery cycles and just over 6.5 megawatt hours of charging through this battery. So quite a bit of charging there. Also, if you're curious, I do have a link for the baby camera here. If you're curious, I think this one works pretty darn well. Even in night vision mode, works well. So let's go into the battery health test. So we'll go into settings and then service. We'll go into battery health test. So I do need to get it plugged in here, and then we'll get this started. It will drain down the battery fully. So we're below 20%, vehicles in parked, connected to the internet, no software update scheduled, no thermal alerts. I just need to plug it in, and then we will get started. And for this test, we're gonna be using my Tesla universal wall connector. So I can do that for J1772 for my Lightning, or I can do this for the Tesla. So let me unwind some cable. We'll get plugged in and get it started. So I do have time of use rates here, so I'm not sure how that will play into this test. I'll turn that off if I need to, but so yeah, we'll go into service, battery health. Okay, I think it just did a test. It's ramping up there for some reason. Not entirely sure why. Oh, we're pulling a load with the climate control. So start test just like that. And I will hop out of this car. It's going to rip the fans. I'm curious if it's going to drain all the way down to 0% or if it will not drain as far. But this should be a pretty involved test. It's saying 19 hours, which is not short. And before you continue watching this, when you see the results in a few minutes or right after this, comment your guesses down below, because for me, this is going to be in many hours later. So curious to see what you guys think and what the result is. A lot of people were telling me I overreacted to the battery health test being poor, being 5% after 6 months and 10% after 12 months, which I still think is pretty terrible. Hopefully it's plateaued. I'm guessing it will probably be somewhere in the like 88, 89% range. Hopefully not. It's not as bad as 85%. That would be really terrible. But I guess we'll see tomorrow what the battery health official test says. I don't know. Tesla batteries seem to degrade worse than pretty much every other battery on the market, even though they don't charge as well as many other cars on the market. So it's a bit strange. I think Tesla is really just cost engineering their vehicles almost to a fault, that they end up with kind of mediocre cells in them that don't last very well, don't charge very well, but just get the job done, check the box. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but it is ripping the fans. Well, I am restarting the battery health test because I realized you cannot set the charge current limit as far as charging current, or adjust it while you're running the test, which is really quite dumb. So I had it set to 30 amps for when I've charged off the Lightning, but I'm using my Tesla wall connector, so I don't need to do that. So it's draining again down to 2, or yeah, it seems like it kept the progress, which is interesting. So yeah, I guess it's going to discharge it back down to 1%, probably let it rest again, and then we'll charge it, but at least it will finish a lot faster than at 30 amps, which is unnecessary. And it will also get more kilowatt hour into my time of use window, which is 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. And it is currently 1 a.m. and we haven't even started charging. So definitely want to get as much or as many kilowatt hour in during that as I can. But if it goes outside of the time of use rate, it's still not crazy. It's 12 cents a kilowatt hour outside and 6 something cents during the off-peak period. So I'm not too concerned, but still, if I can save some cents here and there, I certainly will. Well, 12 hours later, here we have it, 88% battery health, which I think is pretty unacceptable. And for some reason, it's showing that we only added 61 kilowatt hour, but it drained the pack all the way down to 0% and charged it all the way up to 100%. And yeah, that should be a lot more than 61 kilowatt hour. Let's see what it's showing for mileage at 100%. So 302 miles, which is also strange that it's showing plus 260 miles, because again, it drained it down to 0%. I mean, it could have had 1 or 2 miles at that point, which that's fine, but that is very odd. I'm not sure why they're metering it that way. And let me just unplug the car so that way it will show the charge here in Tessie. Actually, let me see if I can show it on the current charge. Yeah, here we go. So we added, according to this, 73.65 kilowatt hour were used, 69.87 added. That makes a lot more sense. I did check my Emporia data as well, and that is showing that we added about 77 and change kilowatt hours. So that also makes sense because there's losses between the panel, the wall connector, the port, and actually getting to the battery, which makes sense. Usually that's about 10% on 240 volt level 2. Here you can see how it tapered down pretty dramatically. Let's see what the timestamp is there. This looks like about 10 o'clock this morning, and we'll see what the state of charge was there. So it looks like it started tapering about 92% SOC, which seems pretty bad. You can see it cycled the battery temperature as well. Looks like it tried to keep it between about 92 and 95 degrees cell temperature. You can see a pretty healthy line voltage there at my house, about 240 volts, sagging down to 235 at points. Interior got pretty warm. It is warm here in the Carolinas. Yeah, showing 81 degrees here in the garage up there. And then you can see the exterior interior temperature being pretty much equalized. So not any climate going or anything like that. Yeah. So I am glad to see that it slowed down a little bit from the initial 5% per 6 months that we were seeing the first 2 times there, going from 100% to 95% to 90%, and now to 88%. So if this trend holds, so if we lose another 2% every 6 months, at the end of this lease, we'll have about 82% battery health, which for a 3-year, 36,000 mile lease, or actually I think we did 10,000 miles a year, whatever. For a 3-year, 30,000 mile lease, to have 82% battery health at the end of it is truly unacceptable in my book. You should not have a lease return vehicle that you purchase, which many people do, because it wouldn't have that many miles on it. It might have 30 to 40,000 miles on it, depending on the lease terms that it was returned from. And at 3 years old, I think it's reasonable to expect that you have at least 90% battery health, and we are below that already at 18 months, which that's just crazy. Tesla really needs to get on it and improve their battery health and degradation, because right now it is really not good. And as a collective purchasing power, if you will, we really need to make it clear to Tesla that this is not acceptable degradation, because that does actually make an impact on your usability. The car is essentially over 10% less useful today than when I got it, which is crazy considering the range on Teslas is not amazing to begin with. I mean, sure, you can get 300 if you drive slow enough, but this is realistically a 250 mile car on the interstate. And yeah, I don't want to lose 10% of that. That would make it a 225 mile car on the interstate. Or even if it started as a 275 and then it becomes a 250, that changes your usability a bit and could actually add a stop in a normal day. Oops, sorry, almost dropped my phone. Anyway, would love to hear what you guys think. If you guys have run battery health tests, what your results have been at various mileages. It seems that newer Teslas are actually degrading worse than older Teslas, because a lot of people will cite data from older Teslas with higher mileage, and those actually are not degrading as much. However, these newer cars, I think seemingly like 2024, 2025-ish and newer, seem to be degrading worse, because it seems like Tesla changed the chemistry in the batteries, and it seems to be causing worse degradation, likely to reduce cost. So anyway, if anyone has any insight on that, definitely comment down below as well. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for watching.